Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBears Casino. Ronnie Rance here with you over in the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Casino Studio, Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame Studios. TK over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, where they are getting ready for a giant Saturday. We'll tell you plenty about that coming up in a little bit here. Big giant meat sale tomorrow. Today on Sports Shorts Daily, presented by LeBears, we're going to talk about. I was at Brian Kelly's radio show last night at TJ Ribs, and I've got some thoughts on that. A very different atmosphere for the Brian Kelly show yesterday in Baton Rouge. Also, Saints tonight. Over-under is only 36.5. I know Tommy thinks that's a little low. He'll tell you why. That's tonight, taking on the Chargers in the Dome. Dennis Allen playing it close to the vest. We don't know if Jameis Winston's going to play or Andy Dalton's going to start or what's actually going to happen at quarterback. I would assume Dalton's going to play for sure, and I would hope that they get Winston a series or two. Also, college football. The start of college football is this weekend. But for whatever reason, the pundits over the last couple of years have dubbed this week 0. We'll tell you why Tommy is irritated with that. And the New Orleans, the LSU line continues to hover right there at 3. It was been 3.5 on some lines, but right now LSU's a 3-point favorite over Florida State. Next Sunday in New Orleans, over under 51.5. It'll be interesting to see if that line moves or changes this Saturday based on Florida State's performance as they take on Duquesne. You know, if it's impressive or if it's closer than people thought, will the line move? We will see. Also, I have some thoughts on what Brian Kelly said about Florida State playing week 1 as well. But let me bring in Tommy right now. First off, over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, it's buzzing over there. We hear all the noise. What's happening? And this is one of their biggest events of the year.
It's a one-day meat sale. They do this every year. And, I mean, the doors open at 9 o'clock. Mike wanted me to emphasize that. There'll be a line at 8 o'clock. It'll be like Thanksgiving Day, everybody coming to get their turkeys. I know it's a little hard to see some of those prices on the flyer I put on the screen. However, they posted it at Tremonti's. I'm posting it on all my stuff. Sale prices like you've never seen while supplies last. Tomorrow, one-day meat sale. Doors open at 9 o'clock here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. So I want you to check that out. Still got the lunch special today, the fried catfish with the crawfish at the buffet. And they'll have the lunch special tomorrow, barbecue ribs. So it's all good here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood on Jefferson Highway, right down the street from Parkview Baptist School and Church. 12451 Jefferson Highway. You get it. The parking lot's going to get full. You're going to have to park and take a few steps. The money you're going to save. Load up the freezer. Get ready for tailgating. Get ready for home gate. Get ready for the deer camp. I mean, it's going to be plenty stuff here at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood.
Yeah, 30 to 50% off just about everything. That's what you're going to save. I loaded up last year on ribs and bacon, so I urge you to do the same.
Well, I just say they got prime bacon for $5.99 a pound. Go try to find the best prime thick cut bacon for $5.99 a pound. Go try to find that somewhere. You can get it here tomorrow at Tremonti.
Yeah, that's basically $9 for 1.5 pounds, and that same bacon, which is the same as like Wright's bacon, and they sell that.
It is Wright's bacon.
They sell that 1.5 pound bacon anywhere else from $11 to $14. For that same pack. So you're going to save, $2 to $5 a pack, on that bacon, and of course it freezes well, and then you can eat it throughout the year. All right, last night, Brian Kelly had its radio show on Thursday nights, not Wednesday nights. For decades, it was on Wednesday nights, but he decided to move it to Thursdays. They had a new set and everything that they built, which was nice. They needed to do that, freshen up things a little bit. So this was interesting, Tommy. Last night, Brian Kelly did not allow pictures or autographs at any point during the radio show with the fans. Now, if anyone's ever been to a radio show, they know that during the commercial breaks, fans will come up, they'll say hello, they'll take a picture, they'll get, Coach O or Coach Saban or Coach Miles or whoever, to Jerry DiNardo, to sign an autograph, or they might give him a fruit cake or whatever. It's kind of a chance to interact with the public. The best I've ever seen to do it was Nick Saban. Actually, he would actually get up out of his chair and go walk the audience and visit with people. It was incredible. Well, Brian Kelly does not do that. Doesn't get out of his chair. He does not let you can't just line up and get pictures or autographs with them. They're not allowing that. They have a police officer and another LSU representative in front of the stage. That changed the whole dynamic of this event, Tommy. It took out. There was not a buzz, much of a buzz in the audience. I have a feeling that the numbers of people are going to be less and less as the year goes on. He gave a lot of good information. I mean, it's very robotic and he gave a lot of good info, but it wasn't like that pep rally feel that a lot of times, especially the first show is, as you get ready to start the year. It's not that same feeling. And I'm curious to see if Brian Kelly moves off of that stance throughout the year or if he stays with it, because there were some people that weren't very happy with that. A lot of people showed up with helmets and balls and pictures and things and wanted to or just shake his hand, and that wasn't allowed.
Well, Brian Kelly's going to be Brian Kelly, okay? And he's going to do what he wants to do. And if he's winning football games, people aren't going to care, okay? So, it's part of a new thing. The times they are changing. I mean, that's what he wants to do. He's the head coach. He's going to run the program the way he wants. He's going to run his radio show the way he wants. So I understand people were probably disappointed. They wanted a picture. They wanted to get an autograph or whatever. Maybe that'll come at some point. I'm thinking he's going to get a little blowback, a little feedback, and they're going to say, okay, maybe the show that we have during the open date, we'll do some pictures and autographs. He might make a slight adjustment.
Well, what they do is they take questions from the audience, and if they have one question each segment, and I took it as basically a press conference that fans could attend, but no questions to ask. You're right, Stephen.
And Stephen was there last night.
Yeah, he's always there, and that's a good description of what it felt like. It felt like a press conference more than a deal. It just didn't have the rah-rah, the excitement. Yeah, it was packed. I mean, heck, I went for the first show because I wanted to see what he was like, and I wanted to see what the new stage was going to look like. But quite honestly, I don't know if I'll go back again unless I just happen to be in the area or it works out or whatever, because it just wasn't, you didn't get anything out of it. Like it wasn't super exciting. It wasn't like, he didn't really say anything that, he wouldn't say. They asked him about the tight ends. He looked down at his sheet and he read off everything about the tight ends and he read off everything about the running backs. And I mean, it's the same stuff we know already. So,
well, here's the thing, Ronnie. Coaches shows like that started a long time ago, so you could give the coach a little more money.
Right.
Brian Kelly doesn't need any more money. He's got a $100 million contract. So therefore, he's going to do what he's got to do to appease the fans, although it's different. And he doesn't. I'm sure he's getting paid to do that, but unlike Bill Arnsparger or Mike Archer,
right,
or Jerry DiNardo, Curly Holman, who they said, "Hey, Curly, if you go do this show, we're going to slide you this amount of money." Right. Okay, I'm in, because they was only making $125,000, whatever it might have been back then. So, but hey, Brian Kelly is Brian Kelly, and this is just part of that.
Full Yankee. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. And look, the reason that Brian Kelly was there doing his show is because it's a part of his contract, and it's a way for LSU to make money. It's a way for them to Sports Properties, who pays LSU. It's a part of them to make money. That's why they do it.
The other reason coaches shows started, it was a recruiting tool. It was a chance for recruits to see the coach and see him not, with the hat and the whistle on and all that. Well, now because of the internet, because when they had the previous shows, there was no internet as it's known today.
Well, they're not doing it. It's not televised. They're not taking phone questions. They did read a question from the app. They did take a couple of questions that were each table had a little piece of paper in the middle of the table where you could write a question, and if they chose your question, then he would in between each break, he would have one person could come up and get a picture and a signed poster if they used your question. So, to say he didn't take a picture and all, there were 4 people that got pictures and autographs last night, and that was if they used your question up. It's fine. I mean, it is what it is. If you want to go and be 25 feet away from the coach and say you met Brian Kelly, you can go. But it just for me, it was disappointing. And by the way, the hardest working guy in show business is going to be Chris Blair each and every Thursday, because like I said, he's got to actually really work. Normally, for these coaches shows, it's let's go to line one, Bob and Plaquemine. Bob, what you got? Now it's Blair's going through a pre-typed up list of questions and trying to keep the show moving, because he really has to ask questions for an hour. There's not anybody else really doing it. All right, we'll move on. By the way, 14 shows total. They'll be back at it next Thursday over at TJ Ribs if you want to go by there. New Orleans Saints tonight. This is their first game in the Dome tonight. I expect it to be almost a sold-out crowd. Folks will be fired up. They open up on the road, so, they're not home until week 2. The big question, of course, who's going to play quarterback? We're going to see a lot of the regulars play tonight, at least a series or two. So, at least for the first quarter, we'll get a chance to see what the 2022 Saints are going to look like.
Yeah, I agree with that. You would think that's what you're going to see tonight. Final preseason game typically does that. And then there's them last 3-4 spots on the roster that the coaching staff's trying to identify who's going to earn those jobs. They know, other than 3-4 guys, they know who's going to be on the roster. One reason I think the over-under is so low, 36.5, is, Ronnie, tonight, both teams, they cannot wait until they see 0-0-0 on the clock. They don't want to get anybody hurt. They want to get this over. It's like a spring training game. Get it over. Get it out the way. Let's get over. That's why, because they're thinking in the second half, they're going to hand the ball off. They don't care if the clock runs, and that's why you have such a low over and under, in my opinion. So, but I think that the Saints fans are going to turn out. The black and gold forces will be there. Rachel says, do we think Winston plays tonight? We don't
I think
know.
so.
Well, I think he does, but we won't know until game time. Dennis Allen, kind of like Brian Kelly, being very close to the vest, although Kelly has said he's going to announce the LSU quarterback Monday or Tuesday, hopefully to do it Monday or Tuesday next week. But the Saints, it'll be fun to check it out tonight and see what happens. And then the next step's roster cut down. Then it's get ready for the Falcons on September 11 in Atlanta.
So 36.5, look, most preseason games, it is relatively low scoring. We know Dennis Allen is a defensive coach. We know that he's not going to do anything to risk his players getting hurt. So as ridiculous as 36.5 sounds, Tommy, 20-10 is a winner. And I think I think I might take that under.
And if it's 20-10 with 11 minutes to go in the game, you're seeing handoff right, handoff left, buck line play, line buck right up the middle. You're not going to see any long passes. They want the clock to run. They're going to want the clock to run. That's what their coaches will be looking at, because by that point, they're going to know the guys on the field are probably going to be on that list this coming week, released.
When did this college football week 0 nonsense start? It was pretty recently, right? Within the last 3 years or something like that. But I don't understand what the value is in week 0.
It's total horseshit. Okay, what is it? Does that mean these games don't count? Does that mean these teams aren't relevant? They don't count. I mean, Nebraska's playing, Utah State's playing. We go through the list. I mean, it's almost like a slap in the face to the teams that are playing this weekend. And there's 15, 16 games around the country. It's week 1. Next week will be week 2. I don't care if it's the opener for most people. It's still, baseball has week 1. Football has this week 0 thing. Whoever came up with that should be banned from college football forever. I think it's stupid. It's embarrassing because, like I said, to the person who doesn't know a whole lot, might think week 0, that's like the jamboree, like all the high school jamborees tonight. That's week 0. That's week 0. The high school teams playing jamborees all over Louisiana tonight. Go to one if you can. That's week 0. Week 1 for them is next week. But college football, when Nebraska, if they win or Northwestern wins, they're going to get a win in their conference play and in their overall record. It means something. It's week 1. I'm like you. Whoever started it, I wish we could find out who started it, because it's embarrassing to the teams that are playing. It's embarrassing to college football. And it's really like not putting the spotlight on the games that are being played this week. There are guys that are going to play this weekend and get drafted in the NFL. Okay. There are teams that are going to play this weekend and they're going to spring an upset somewhere during the course of the fall. So don't call it week 0. Please call it week 1.
It'd be to me week 0 means like if there's like one game being played or something, like the Hawaii's playing the week before everybody else or something like that. Okay, call that week 0. But nowadays there's too many, like you mentioned, real teams and numerous games to call it week 0.
I agree completely. It's one of them things that bothers me. It probably shouldn't, Ronnie, but it does bother me. But it bothers a lot of people. There's a lot of columns this week nationally. A lot of stuff on social media about it's not week 0, ladies and gentlemen. These games count. These games are important to these teams that are playing. Okay, it's very important to these teams. Nebraska plays in Dublin, Ireland Saturday. Their coach Scott Frost, he's on the hot seat. He wants to win this game. He's trying to save his job. But it's week 0. Now, Dan Patrick made a good point. Now, maybe if Coke Zero sponsored all of these games, then you could call it week 0. Dan's always thinking business like you, Ronnie. He's trying to think of, how can we make another $2 here? But no, I think it's ridiculous to call it Coke Zero. I think it sheds a bad light on the teams who have practiced and are trying to win their first game of their season.
All right. So the Florida State game, they're taking on Duquesne. They're expected to, beat them by 50. But what if they only beat them by 25? Does that affect the line? Do you think that 3-point line moves dramatically, or maybe it goes from 3 to 3.5?
I think it goes hot up after this weekend. I think it could be 5 or 6 points by kickoff. Now, you made mention that you were going to say what Brian Kelly said about Florida State playing a game.
So Brian Kelly was asked, did he think it was an advantage or disadvantage? What did you like the fact that Florida State had an opening game prior to your game, or does it hurt you? And he said a little bit of both was his response. He thought that, obviously them playing, it gives you some tape, it gives you something to prepare for and gives you some tape and okay, well, so-and-so's playing left tackle and so-and-so's playing right tackle and okay, this is what they look like and these are the formations they like. So it gives you something to go on, which definitely is an advantage to you and a disadvantage to Florida State that they don't know what the Brian Kelly LSU offense is going to exactly look like. But he said there's tremendous value in game reps. It doesn't matter who you play. It's tremendous value in game reps, different than practice, different than scrimmages. So he said if he had it his way, he would rather play an opening game against a Duquesne and knock off the rust and get that comfort under your belt. But he did say that there is some value for LSU being able to look at tape. So a little bit of both, he said.
Well, Stephen Miller says, what about a conference game? Well, there is one. Nebraska and Northwestern. By the way, that pick's posted at meatandpotatoesusa.com with a money-back guarantee. Nebraska Northwestern in Dublin, Ireland is a Big Ten game, and somebody's going to get a conference win.
And I agree with Stephen there. If you don't jump on LSU -3 right now, you're right. If we expect that line's going to go up, maybe Florida State doesn't look as good as we thought. I mean, look, even if Florida State wins 61-3, I don't think anybody's going to go, ooh, Florida State won 61-3 over Duquesne. Let's move the line the other way. To me, the line holds, or they don't look as impressive, and LSU money starts coming in, especially LSU at home in the Dome, and that line starts jumping up. So right now, tremendous value.
I agree completely.
All right, TK, tell us one last time about Tremonti's before we get out of here.
All right, there's going to be a huge one-day meat sale tomorrow. Prices like you've never seen. Doors open at 9 o'clock. Get here a little bit early, park, and get ready to fill your freezer. All the information is on Facebook and Instagram on Tremonti's Meat and Seafood, Jefferson Highway in Baton Rouge. And don't forget meatandpotatoesusa.com. There's your QR code. Hold your phone up. Put the camera on that. You're going to go right to the website. There is a pic posted on that Northwestern State Nebraska game. There's a pic on the Utah State game. There's a couple of futures bets. meatandpotatoesusa.com. We want you to check that out this weekend and connect with me on social media, and you'll see all that good stuff as well.
All right, Saints tonight. We'll talk plenty about it tomorrow on Sports Church Radio, which will be live from L'Auberge Casino from 10 to noon on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. So stop on by or tune in and listen to us. We'll be on the air tomorrow breaking down. Derry Beckwith will be with us. We'll have TK, myself, and many other guests as well. So until the Monday, have a great one. Thanks for watching Sports Shorts Daily. Please like and share. We'll see you Monday morning for more Sports Shorts presented by L'Auberge.